All right, the border czar Tom Homan joins us now, and sir, thanks for coming back on. We talked a lot about the new Harvard-Harris poll on immigration. They've thrown every possible sob story at you guys, nonstop negative media coverage. You still do have the public support on deportations. I just wondered what you thought we should learn from that. The fact that about 60% of Americans still believe we should be deporting all illegals in this country.
Look, the administration, including myself, we need to be out there more. We need to be out there telling the American people exactly what we're doing, because most of the media is skewing everything we're doing. They're out there saying we're separating families and we're arresting somebody who's been here for 50 years and has cancer. I mean, we need to be going out there and telling what the true numbers are looking like. Like today, I looked at the numbers today, and ICE is right around, from the last report, about 130,000 interior arrests. And more than 90,000 of them are convicted criminals with pending criminal charges. So there's this whole, misinformation that we're arresting a lot of non-criminals. We're not. The majority we're arresting criminals and national security threats, public safety threats. However, as you and I discussed before, in sanctuary cities, where we're forced in the community to find a bad guy because the jail won't let us into jail, we're going to find collaterals. We're going to find illegal aliens along with a criminal target, and they're going to get arrested too. So the facts are, we are still prioritizing public safety threats, national security threats, and numbers prove it. And the more we get that out to the American people, tell them the truth of what we're doing, we're keeping to the president's promises, I think the more the people are going to understand it, and that poll is going to stay pretty steady.
Administration has declared that immigrants who arrive in the United States illegally no longer eligible for a bond hearing. It means you have to hold them, I guess, until they are deported from the country. How big of a change is that for you? What does that do? And do you have the space to hold them that long?
Well, thanks, because of the big, beautiful bill, we should have up to 100,000 beds. We're bringing beds on as quick as possible. But basically what that ruling says is we're going to obey the law. DHS and DOJ got together and looked at 235, Section 235 versus 236 of the Immigration Nationality Act. That's always been up from interpretation. So they clearly said the statute says arriving alien, those without proper documentation, in the statute says, shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about, not given to an NGO. So I think DOJ and DHS has looked at that law and made sure ICE officers are well aware of that law. So yes, detain until removed. Right. That's exactly what ICE is going to do.
The big, beautiful bill got passed. I know how important that was for you. I mean, I think maybe one of the biggest things in that bill that Trump knew was needed was if he wants to secure the border, get the wall, get the people out, which is, kind of the mantelpiece of how he ran, you needed that. Are we well on the way to that 7,000 number that you're trying to get to, that you want to get to, 7,000 a day deported?
Well, we don't have the resources in place yet. That's what the bill. It's going to take time to bring resources on. First, you got to hire them. Yeah. Then you got to put them through the academy. Then you got to put them on the streets. It's going to be a while. But with this new bill, we'll get more technology, which means we got targeting, finding people that don't want to be found with, with the latest technology available out there from the private sector. Yeah. That's going to be very helpful. So we're going to increase the targeting. Plus, as you said, we're going to increase beds, increase flights. So it's going to be more efficient, because everything I told you the last show, one day I woke up, we had less than 200 beds available. Well, we're going to fill them in an hour. So we're constantly looking at what we can do operation-wise on the streets, seeing what kind of beds we have, so it's been slowing us down. The faster we bring on beds, we don't have to play that game anymore. So we have plenty of beds to fill, and at the same time, we ramp up the flights, double the number of flights leaving the country, and that way we'll be more efficient. We'll always have beds. We'll always have flight arrangements. So this big, beautiful bill is going to help us in many ways. The longest part of that bill is bringing people on board and getting them trained up to the academy. The short-term beds and planes will be extremely helpful to the current staffing we have now.
Yeah. Your agents are getting assaulted at record levels. It's up like 8 times over the numbers that we used to see. You've got a ton of radical rhetoric being spewed on the other side. They're saying pretty much anything that might get your agents killed at some point. They want people to believe that you're running a Gestapo that's disappearing innocent people just because they're brown, and you've got people that are elected officials that are saying these kinds of things. What's your response to that, and how dangerous that is?
Look, there's a lot of nuts on the left there. They feel emboldened to attack ICE because they hear congressmen and senators compare ICE to, the Nazis and to racists and stormtroopers. I've heard it all. In terrorist groups. I mean, you have elected officials making those claims. So the people on the left who are normally protesters, but there's that small fraction, don't want to protest and want to become criminals. They feel emboldened. Hell, if a U.S. senator, it regards ISIS Nazis, and I have the right to go and throw a stone at somebody or throw a Molotov cocktail on, which just happened. Right. So I've said I said over 2 months ago, if the rhetoric didn't slow down, there's going to be bloodshed, and there has been. There's already been one person killed, officer's been injured, and it's not going to stop unless these congressional representatives just, stop the hateful rhetoric. Number one, they need to understand they're a member of Congress. ICE is enforcing the law that you created.
Yeah.
So if ICE is a racist for enforcing the law, what does it make you? You wrote the law. So back off, support the men and women who are putting lives on lives on the line for this country every day.
Really, really despicable to see what they're capable of saying for political gain of some kind, which is what this is all about, of course. I mean, I don't think most of these Democrats are actually open border zealots, although some of them are. I want to ask you this finally before I let you go. This ICE Block app that I know you've been dealing with, this app that's designed to basically disrupt your immigration raids, to let people know that one's coming, to dox your agents. Laura Loomer, who actually digs up some pretty incredible stuff, we see her all the time on Twitter, on X, is reporting that the wife of the creator's name is Joshua Aaron. She's reporting that the wife of the creator is currently working at the DOJ under Pam Bondi. She's an auditor named Carolyn Feinstein. Is that information that the DOJ should be aware of? I mean, that's something to me.
They're aware of it. I mean, Laura Loomer sent that to me, and I sent it to DOJ. So we'll see where it goes.
So you've already.
And as far as that app, and as far as I did, I sent it over there. But as far as DOJ, I mean, as far as the app, that's under investigation by DOJ also. And it's what he's doing is giving a heads up to criminals. Not everybody. Not everybody we arrest out there is a serious public safety threat. That's who we're targeting. That's who we're prioritizing. But many are. So you give a heads up. ICE is in your neighborhood. ICE is coming to your door. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of time before ICE agents are ambushed and someone's killed. A man ambushed ICE detention facility in Alvarado last week, and an officer was shot in the neck. It's just. If it's not illegal, it should be. But DOJ is looking at it, and they need to throw some people in jail.
Yeah, you're facilitating, I would say, attacks against federal officers, at the very least.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tom Homan, the Border Czar, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmidt tonight on Newsmax.